What's up, guys? Welcome to Comic Basics, where we break down comic characters to their simplest form and ask some serious questions. Today's question: Garth versus Kaldur'ahm. What is the actual difference? Before we begin, I need you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button right below the video, and while you're down there, hit that bell and turn those notifications on. In the world of DC Comics, two characters have taken on the mantle of Aqualad, the first and original being Garth, and the second Kaldur'ahm. Each is unique in what they bring to the table. The problem is that there is confusion and uncertainty about which is which and how they're different from one another. And that's why I'm here. Let's analyze, decide who's who, and figure out which of the two might actually be better. Origin stories. Jackson Hyde hails from New Mexico and not Atlantis. Contrary to what we're about to find out with Garth, his parents actually made him fear the water. They did this so as to prevent him from going near the water and learning who he was. Their efforts were all for naught as Jackson learned of his heritage after the events of Brightest Day. As a white power battery calls a group of heroes to New Mexico, Jackson's tattoos begin to glow. Just as his tattoos glow, so too do his powers begin to manifest. He learns that he's actually the son of Black Manta and that Mara brought him to his adoptive family as a means of keeping him safe. And why? He also learns that his parents had been tortured by the Zabel and the king had ordered him to be experimented on. As for Garth, his parents were the rulers of Sheersis, or the capital city of the hidden Valley of Colonies. His father Thar earned the right to rule, and along with it, access to ancient magics. Sadly, Thar's brother Slizath, say that 4 times fast, believed himself to be the true ruler. But he wasn't. As a consequence of practicing dark magic, Slizath was banished from Sheersis and transformed into a hideous beast. Before long, Slizath, again saying it fast, marched an army on his brother. At the conclusion of the battle, Thar had beaten Slizath and trapped him in a dimensional portal by a spell. What nobody foresaw was that the spell that trapped Slizath could and would be broken by the ritual that anoints rule. Word was immediately sent to any baby born with the mark of power, purple eyes, was to be slain. On the onset of Garth's birth, his mother, Mara, knew that he wasn't safe. Her baby had purple eyes and she knew that he would one day perform the ritual. Believed by the Atlanteans to be genetically inferior, he was sentenced to death. This of course did not happen and he was taught to survive by Atlan. Costumes. Each of the two Aqualads has their own distinctive costume. One firmly places emphasis on the old guard while the other fully embraces the new age. Due to their unique looks, it's near impossible to mistake one for the other. Kaldur'ahm makes use of modern day fashion. His costume utilizes a basic skin-tight leather-looking pant coupled with an even tighter red sleeveless shirt. If you didn't know any better, you'd actually think he was a high fashion model, not a superhero. Because his shirt is sleeveless, his tattoos are always on full display. Depending on which version you're looking at, the Young Justice television show version or the comic book version, Jackson has either bleach blonde hair or dark dreadlocks. For a new age superhero, his look follows a pretty standard formula. It's not that special. Garth, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. Whereas Kaldur'ahm's outfit is the definition of a mullet, short on top, long in the bottom, Garth's isn't. His costume is right out of the era he came from. Short, Robin-esque blue trunks and a long, leave everything to the imagination red top. Think reverse mullet. Of course, this dramatically changes with his transformation into Tempest, but we're not really talking about Tempest. For all intents and purposes, Garth looks like the guy you don't want to look at on the beach, but like a train wreck, you can't help but look at. Power set. Nearly identical in their power set, the two Aqualads are more than capable of handling their own. Kaldur'ahm, the newer of the two, uses a pretty straightforward set of powers. He can breathe underwater and utilizes hydrokinesis. This means that he can bend and use all things water to his will. He can also expel bolts of electricity from his fingers, possesses superhuman strength, and has a partial immunity to underwater poisons. Lastly, he's kind of an amphibian. This allows him to do everything that you'd probably think of when thinking of the word amphibian. As for Garth, his power set is just a little more vast. He, like Kaldur'ahm, possesses superhuman strength, utilizes hydrokinesis, and is also amphibious. But their similarities really end there. Garth is adept at seeing long distances both underwater and in the dark while on land. His body is filled with amino acids that prevent his body from freezing in the deepest depths of the ocean. This also means that he's able to survive for extended periods on land without the need for water. In addition to his superhuman strength, he also possesses superhuman stamina and speed. In fact, he's been known to travel in excess of 80 miles per hour underwater. Because he can swim in the deepest depths of the ocean, his body naturally produces gases that push against the pressures of the water around him. Like Aquaman, Garth has lived his life at the butt end of jokes. He's able to talk to sea creatures and even control them. His magical powers are so great that he's nearly unrivaled in DC. Further to this, he can generate heat from his left hand and cold from his right. Oh, and finally, he can actually dimensionally transport himself and turn himself invisible. Their potential. Even though Garth appears to be more powerful, remember that his character has been around for a lot longer than Kaldur'ahm. He has had what we all desire, time. With time, he's been able to develop and refine his powers in a way that Kaldur'ahm simply can only dream of. If the two were to battle, the winner would be Garth, hands down. He is the original Aqualad, and as such, has become one of the most feared and respected sea dwellers in DC. But that doesn't mean his potential is higher. Quite the contrary, actually. With Kaldur'ahm, we have unbridled potential. Kaldur'ahm is in such an infant state that he would take in lessons and teachings like a sponge. His power set is not limited by what he knows. Instead, his power set is actually unlimited by what he doesn't know. Kaldur'ahm has already proven he's a force to be reckoned with. He's a vital member of the Teen Titans and a popular character on the Young Justice television show. Kaldur'ahm has superior potential to Garth because he hasn't had decades of history defining exactly who he is. Instead, he has decades of history ahead of him defining exactly who he will become. I know, it's kinda deep. Historical importance. When it comes to either Aqualad, their historical importance is significant. For everything that he's known for all the power that he possesses, and for his out-of-style costume, Garth is a founding member of the Teen Titans. This means that he didn't just join the team, he actually made the team. He, alongside Robin and Kid Flash, first appeared as the team in the Brave and the Bold number 54. In this issue, the three can be found thwarting, can't make this up, Mr. Twister. In one of the most evil and well thought out schemes in comic history, Mr. Twister has taken the teenagers of Hatter Corner hostage. He did this because he had planned to use the teenagers to erect some stone monuments to tornadoes. The three soon-to-be Titans made their way to the villain, and through a series of distractions, were able to save the children. Even though this kind of story seems outdated and certainly hasn't stood the test of time, its importance is just that, important. Kaldur'ahm, on the other hand, has only been around for a decade. However, his significance shouldn't be taken lightly. Kaldur'ahm made his actual first appearance on the television show Young Justice. On it, he was an instrumental part of the team, capable of doing whatever it took to win. For example, in one story arc, the teenager had looked to switch sides and joined his father Black Manta. By aligning himself with his father, Kaldur'ahm was able to acquire information that couldn't necessarily have been acquired had he not gained his trust. Of course, as the story played out, the audience learns that the switch was a clever hoax. Kaldur'ahm was one of the most beloved characters on Young Justice. This was so much that DC architect Jeff Johns saw his potential outside of television. Shortly after the show began, Johns got to work adapting the character to the comic book medium. Making his debut in Brightest Day, Kaldur'ahm was given a slightly different look, had his origin story modified, and was humanized. This meant that he was changed to like soccer, excelled at math, and actually came out as gay. But that's not what humanized him. Kaldur'ahm is human because he faces human problems and deals with human emotions. His mother actually becomes uncomfortable with his sexuality, and his boyfriend Kenny is worried and scared by his powers. These two small tweaks to his character instantly made Kaldur'ahm resonate with those who read his book. Suddenly, he was relatable. He was a teenager with teenage problems. When it comes to historical significance, Kaldur'ahm's can't be really measured. Sure, Garth formed the original Teen Titans, but the team has been reformed so many times that it practically doesn't even matter who formed it. Kaldur'ahm, on the other hand, has become a voice for the New Age. His defining traits will help change the perspective of what it means to be accepted. And I'm going to wrap it up here. 5 simple differences between the two Aqualads, Garth and Kaldur'ahm. As always, I'm going to ask you 3 things before you take off. First, I need you to hit that subscribe button, and while you're down there, hit that bell and turn those notifications on. Second, I need you to check out some of our other videos. They're actually pretty good. If you don't know where you can find them, no worries. I've put a link right there in that right-hand corner. And third, check out 2 websites for me. First, I need you to go to www.comicsforcause.com. Comics for Cause sees the distribution and delivery of comic books all over the world to children who need them most. What does this mean? Basically, it means that we give comic books to kids sitting in orphanages and hospitals all over the world. Check out the website, and if you can, help us out. Second, I need you to check out Comic Basics, of course. You can find it at www.comicbasics.com. Comic Basics is the website devoted to this YouTube channel, and on it you'll find more information than we can put into any of these videos. I'll put both links to both websites in the description below. Thanks guys, and I'll catch you next time.